I believe so let's call it the January 30th Lititz Borough Council Meeting. The friends did not come back this meeting. Mayor, would you like to take the invocation and the pledge?
Yeah, I'd like to welcome Jeremiah from 717 Church located at Lambs. If you would come up and please give us an invitation.
I just want to thank you guys for your time and effort. My son is with me, so he brings down the average age a little bit. But it's important. You say, saying you're young and spry, but it's important for him to see people sacrificing their community. So thank you for your time. So let me pray. Jesus, thank you for what you've given us. And Father, every day is a gift to use for your glory. And so help us today to see moments where we can show love and grace and mercy. And that speaks to what you call us to. So thank you for each person in this room, where they understand they are loved by their Creator. And Father, as we work to make this place better for all people, help us to find new and creative ways that lead to that. Love you.
Thank you. Could we stand for the pledge, please? Pledge allegiance to the flag. United States of America, to the republic, stand, nation.
Two sets of meeting minutes that we need to review and approve. The first is the December 19th council meeting, which would have been the actual last full meeting, and then our January 2nd reorganization.
To approve the Lititz Borough Council Meeting that's dated December 19th, 2023.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion approved.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the minutes from the January 2nd, 2024 reorganization meeting.
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion approved. We have no presentations. We have no ordinances. We have one resolution, and this is more of a celebratory resolution. You know, council members, you received the information. Bill Gillings in there. No. To celebrate the 30th anniversary of the Main Street Peddler. And, obviously, we generally appreciate our downtown merchants. A big part of what brings vibrancy that we have to our downtown. So we collectively thought this would be something positive to celebrate. And it's a big accomplishment to make it through 30 years. Got any other comments or thoughts before that?
Would you read the resolution?
Is the Main Street Peddler first opened at 22 East Main Street on January 31st, 1994 by Linda Neese, whereas Main Street Peddler has continuously operated since that time, making it one of the oldest shops in downtown Lititz. Whereas the Main Street Peddler is an iconic part of the Main Street streetscape. We always have to start with whereas for everything. It's just Main Street Peddler will be celebrating its 30th anniversary on February 9th, 2024. Now, therefore, be it resolved by Council of the Borough of Lititz, Lancaster County, Commonwealth, Pennsylvania, to recognize and celebrate the Main Street Peddler's 30th anniversary. We represented and adopted this 30th day of January 2024 by the Borough Council, Lititz, Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. After session duly assembled.
I move to approve resolution 983, Main Street Peddler Anniversary Recognition.
Second. A motion in a second. All in favor? Opposed? Motion approved. Just to provide you getting the details on exactly when, where, who I was attending. Do you have responses from everyone?
Just that there's interest, not that it was settled on a specific time, other than what you mentioned. And I think Chris was going to intend to abstain. since
Yes,
he was,
yes, just although this shop is near and dear to my heart, as one of the former owners, I will abstain from this vote for abundance of caution, not to show any prejudice.
One of the things about our community is we are supported by a wonderful group of volunteers and professionals that provide emergency services for our community. And each year we set renew the contract that we enjoy on how we work together. So the first contract is how the Lititz Borough interacts and is served by the Lititz Fire Company. That's our first contract that we're going to look at under resolution 560. And the second one that's going to come up tonight is also how we're well served by the Warwick Ambulance Association. These two entities serve a vital service for all of us, and we like to affirm that each year with these two resolutions. So I move to approve Agreement 560, where Lititz agrees to the 2024 Fire Services Contract with the Lititz Fire Company, number 1, effective January 2nd, 2024.
Second.
There are a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion approved.
The second one that we're going to approve is Agreement 561, and that's involving the ambulance service. So I move to approve Agreement 561, where the Lititz Borough agrees to the 2024 ambulance services contract between the Community Ambulance Association effective January 2nd of 2024.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion approved.
The third agreement is numbered 562. This is a memorandum of understanding that's been in place for some time. However, one of the requirements is that when any of the municipalities are part of this agreement decides to step away, the agreement needs to be reapproved. And this is it's called the East Hemphill Emergency Management Cooperation. And that's where leaders of each of our emergency services could be shared in the event of an emergency. And then if a Lititz emergency leader is helping East Hemphill, they're covered for insurance and their role there. So what happened is East Petersburg Borough dropped out of this agreement that we had in place. And so we're just reaffirming the agreement between us and East Petersburg. East Hemphill. That's all we're doing. Okay. To approve 562, to support the emergency management cooperation agreement with East Hemphill Township and Warwick Township, and recognize the appointment of deputy emergency management coordinator from the partner municipality.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion approved.
Steve, I have a comment. I was privileged to be able to learn about local emergency management coordination this last week. I was able to visit the firehouse and I talked to Mike and Bruce, and it was very, very interesting. And our community is very fortunate here that we have such a way of cooperating and coordinating fire services and ambulance services in our community. I don't think our community understands how important that is. And the response time and the professionalism and the training that goes into firefighters and emergency personnel are extraordinary. And I just want to thank the borough and the community for that cooperation. That doesn't happen automatically. It happens with a lot of great leadership and intentionality. I just wanted to offer that in response to these agreements.
Fortunate. Other comments? Okay. To the council members forum. I spoke to each of you over the course of the last week. Collected some great feedback from everybody on skill sets, interests with the various committees. The various interests that you had, the skill sets, but also looked to just want to introduce you to some new things might not have been exposed to, not familiar with before coming on council as well. And I joked with some of you, I had my nerdy spreadsheet trying to make sure I was balancing, but I wasn't just getting one or two things. I kind of went through that. I'm going to go through and give each of the council roles. I will share with you as we go through this, and I know it's going to be new for everybody. As we continue down through the council members forum, whichever one you are assigned, if you were the chair of that, you end up being the one reporting on the action section, subsequent items below. Okay. Right. The first chair the 8 council subcommittees. Subcommittee Employee Benefits and Insurance, Chairman Meck, Vice Mobley. Subcommittee on Buildings, Grounds, and Pool, Chairman Mobley, Vice Meck. Subcommittee on Finance, Chair, Tensinig Vice. Subcommittee on Personnel and Negotiations, Chairman Meck, Tensinig Vice. Subcommittee on Streets and Traffic, Carpenter Chair, Mobley Vice. Subcommittee on Water Sewer Services, Chair, Gaddis Vice. Subcommittee on Planning, Tensinig Chair, Meck Vice. Subcommittee on Zoning, Gaddis Chair, Carpenter Vice. That's the 8 council subcommittees to the 11 liaisons and regional committees. Company liaison, Carpenter. Birds Public Library liaison, Gaddis. Rec Center liaison, Meck. Regional Comp Plan, Gaddis. Regional Community Development Committee, Mobley. Right now.
No, that'll be next year.
School District Liaison, Gaddis. Venture Lititz Rep, Tensinig. Emergency Services Commission, Carpenter. To Effort Rail Trail Committee, Tensinig. Regional Rec Committee, Gaddis and Carpenter. Right? Question for discussion?
Mr. Chairman, sorry, let me just get my notes up here. It would be very helpful if we could get a comprehensive list of all of the subcommittees, which we have through that document. But also ad hoc committees, boards, commissions, regional committee appointments, terms. And I'm hoping that we can follow through on that before the next council meeting, perhaps. And I think it would also be really helpful. I know that maintaining a website takes a lot of time and resources, but if we could begin to start working towards a consistent representation of the citizens who are volunteering within our community, their terms of service, when they were appointed, how long their terms are, and so forth on the website so that it's publicly facing and accessible to the community. That would be greatly appreciated.
Absolutely. Elijah, I see you.
Sorry, Elijah.
Definitely making some notes there. I mean, I think some of what Mary's talking about, I'm familiar with the website is on there with basically who's on their terms. But I think Gary made this note, I think that's me also just trying to find a better way to make sure everyone's aware of the committee.
That's
And that there's 3 people from this committee that are going to be getting off in December, whatever it is. And so that is different goals that we'll talk about a little later that.
Yeah, and just for the sake of everybody who's here tonight, appreciate you being here and hope that you will pay attention to that, attend some of the other board and commission meetings and become more familiar with the workings of the borough. It's really critical. You are really critical to the efficient operation of our community. So thank you to anybody here who is presently serving, and please let us know if you're interested in any particular position in the future.
Better ways.
Great, thank you.
By
Thank you.
I had a good example of that at the swearing ceremony. We outlined the various committees. After the meeting, I had someone come up and say, hey, I would be interested in volunteering for that committee. And I think once the community knows more about those options, I think we will have hopefully more people who are interested. And if the website, some of the other processes can be put in place to really make that an easier process, I think it'll be helpful. We voices from our community to part of these committees, and this is one way we can do that. I understand there's about 55 volunteers and committees, is that right? Think about that. So I don't think the community realizes that, and those are who serve our community. It's important to celebrate that.
Is there one for the public? 50 people out there. Continuing on here. So as I said, as we go down through each of these other council member forum items, we're appointed as the chair of that committee, will lead the discussion in that section. So the water and wastewater is Ken's old favorite. And start off with that and get rid of it, huh? But I love it. It's all the funding we work on. So maybe we can come up and let's one item on the agenda is to review that and from my report, and I have a couple of committee reports. Come on up. Good to see you. Happy New Year.
Yep, yeah. And it's good to see some, not that it was good to see faces leave, but it's good to see new faces on the board as well. Let's see, the only thing, I mean, the major thing is, since temperatures are cooling down, dry has to get run a little bit more, so chemical and utility costs will go up. This is the time of year when that tends to happen. The bugs don't work as well, so we have to run the dryer to make up for that. So just wanted to foreshadow. Let's see, the rebate accounts for December, over budget by 10,000 to 10,023.87. And as of the end of December for the contract year, we are $45,236.05 over budget. We did do some preliminary reconciliation on the caps because this January is the last month of the contract year. And we had found that the water plant, the utility costs, the utility total that we had reported was actually lower than the actual number by 4,561. And then actually the total, it's a misprint. It's 127,292, which is what's in the chart. Just wanted to, because I don't know what I was thinking there. And then at the wastewater plant, it was low by 5,177, which makes a total there is 332,4918. And then for the chemical costs, I had actually over accrued for one of the chemicals, so that would decrease by the 2,470, and that puts that total at 190,689 cents. The big issue there was at the beginning of the year. I don't know if anybody else here had PP&O, but you get bills and then wouldn't get bills, and then the bills were wrong, and so that's kind of where that all came out. But we were able to get the final bills for the whole year.
Most of all swings in that first.
Yeah. We had, I think, in the first 3 months, they wound up, even though we paid them, they canceled 2 checks, and then the next month it was a $60,000 bill. So yeah, it was all over the place there. Let's see, for preventative maintenance, one of the high service pumps at the water plant check valve had to be rebuilt. And there was annual grease for the biosolids dryer was purchased, and then we had to purchase a new backwash pump for the tertiary filters down at the wastewater plant. That was a pump and motor assembly. And other than that, we were fairly quiet. I know Rob had said and Ken had said about trying to set up tour time down at those plants. But I thought it might be better if we're there all the time. And we always like to give the tours, so it it doesn't only have to be one day. So I could probably, we brought business cards. So if all the, and it could be the whole council if you wish to come down, if you haven't been there in a while. And, it can be any day. We're down there. We love, the guys take real pride in both plants. And we love to show them off. But,
I'll encourage you to go through.
Yeah. I didn't want to, it doesn't have to be this month because it tends to be kind of cold. If you wish to wait, you can as well. So.
Outside.
We could do the water plant this time of year. We knew that, but.
That's the only questions you might have of me and our facility.
Question, throughout last year and this year, we're talking about some upgrades relative to some of the equipment.
Yes.
And I was just wondering, are we going to anticipate some major costs with equipment repairs in the next year or so? And kind of what is the status of all equipment over there? How are we?
I know this year,
for that?
at least for this year, we are purchasing a spare. Let's see, influent pump for down at the wastewater plant that would give us, so we have 3 influent pumps at the wastewater plant. Each motor is about $50,000. We did put in the budget this year to purchase one. Now, of course, we just got told that that marathon's being bought out by, I think it's WEG, and it might be a 6-month hold on when we can order. We were hoping to order it pretty quick. So we have that. We keep a very rigorous maintenance program. We will be replacing one of the pumps for one of the wells at the water plant. We do have, I think we budgeted to get 2 of the other wells inspected, pumps pulled and inspected this year. And actually to inspect 2 of the pumps that are inside. So in the water plant, we have intermediate pumps and high service pumps. The intermediate pumps take the water from the filters and put them into the contact tanks. Those are the 2 storage tanks on site behind the plant. And then the high service pumps takes water from there. And in theory, pumps it to Kissel Hill, but that feeds water to town. So we are having both of the 1 of each of those pumps inspected. And we'll do that this year, next year, and the following year, because there's 3 of each. We've really, in the past few years, have really been looking at, say, the age of certain things, being that especially at the wastewater plant, the upgrade was about 13 years ago. So things slowly, but we've really been pushing to get a good replacement and say rebuild program going.
Thank you.
In addition, not only with the forethought of might be less with impact, it also helps us with future planning and recognition of age and capacity issues. So we have some good resources to help these plants function well.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? A motion to approve the December income report for the water and wastewater plant.
Second. Okay.
It's okay. I second.
The motion is second. All in favor? Opposed? Motion approved.
I had one item that I would like us to give a couple highlights from 2 committee reports that occurred in the last month. The water sewer committee meets monthly, and so first item of business was we welcome Mary Gass. She's on our team now, so she attended. And just some of the highlights that in addition to all the maintenance and ongoing upkeep that we have, I'd like to highlight just a few items. One is we always focus on cybersecurity. So the SCADA project that's now being finally implemented is a barrier to bad actors that we have out there. So that's been finalized and secure. One other item that popped up, we had at the address of 24 East Orange Street, we had 2 service lines serving that one property. However, behind that property, there's another property owned by a separate person. So we're trying to resolve this duplicity of service lines going through one property but owned by two different entities. So Rob is working closely on that with his team. This is important because a logical solution would be to access Raspberry Lane and put in another service lines for this backyard property. We're also planning to pave that area, so he's moving quickly to get it lined up so we can not have any delays. Front Street, as we mentioned in the budget process, we're going to have 800 feet of water main replacement. This also gives laterals a chance to be replaced. Residents of Front Street are probably getting notification of that for about now, as this work is going to happen. The lateral lines to be replaced if necessary, and also any lead lines that might be legacy lead lines will be removed during this process. This is really the phase one of our plans in this part of town. Phase two on the Front Street is to improve the meter port, so have a water line replacement from Front down to Oak. Previous section I was talking about, I did not mention, that's from North Lane to Locust. So that's some of our highlights here and communicating to our community. The Lincoln Street culvert repairs continue to make progress. I think a slab was poured in support of this underground structure, and also there was a support for the home that's involved in this area has been designed and implemented. Finally, Rob and his team are working to research how to best replace a water line replacement that serves Kenview. That's the Johnson & Johnson building. So the Public Works team is investigating that and seeing how to do that. And the other that I attended was the Lititz Borough Authority. And that's a quarterly that I attend with Rob. Here this last week, 2 items of business that the board was when party has been reorganized and the offices are all in place. Most have repeating another term. And then there was 2 projects that Infomart brought up, 2 that are necessary for the function of our facilities, and that was the aeration diffuser. So these are a highly specialized piece of equipment, and Nathan's team are looking for some spares. So we're going ahead and getting those on the shelf so we can operate effectively. And then the dryer centrifuge, SCADA, there's some redundant programming software that is needed, again, to protect us from cyber and bad actors and operating the plant. So that is needed. That will take us over our budget for this year for those categories by $5,000, but it's needed. So that's my highlights for the committee report, Steve. Thanks, Kenneth.
And I'll just add to that real quickly for the common person. We have a very proactive and professional team making sure that we have water and sewer services in the borough.
Right, moving on to the subcommittee report on streets and traffic. Yours to Mayor.
Okay. I have a couple tonight. Lane Street, there's a parking restriction request. I just wanted to remind the public that there's going to be an on-site planned in the future. We don't have a date. And those who want to attend can speak about this request. Next permit will be for the Lititz Chocolate Walk. It's going to be on October 12th of 2024. Starting times at 10 a.m. and time at 4 p.m. Just put on it's a Kiwanis Club. There's going to be a couple of roads closed. There'll be a nice line between Tomato Pond and the bank. And there's going to be free parking, which is going to be taken care of. Attendance expected about 2,000. So, is there any questions about that? I'd like to make a motion to approve the Lititz Chocolate Walk for October 12th of 2024.
Second.
Motion and a second. Favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion approved.
Second permit is for the Lititz Rec Center, the 10th annual triathlon, scheduled for Sunday, August 4th of 2024, with a rain date on August 11th of 2024. Start times at 8 a.m. and ends to 11. Lititz Rec Center at the Lititz Rec Center. There's going to be swimming, biking, and a 5K. Looks like there's going to be about 230 participants. Are there any questions? Okay, hearing none, I'd like to make a motion to approve the Lititz 10th Annual Triathlon on Sunday, August 4th of 2024. Second.
A motion and a second, all in favor? Opposed? All right, none, motion approved.
Right. It's Fun Nice Festival permits. That is, we're going to run from 2/15, so February 15th of 2024 through February 25th of 2024. Starts at 4 p.m. on the 15th and ends at 4 p.m. on the 25th. It's going to be downtown Lititz, hosted by Venture Lititz. There is going to be a closure on the 15th, the 19th, 4 o'clock. So those dates, it's going to be Juniper Lane in front of the T-shirt factory. I'm sorry, the shirt factory. And I thought this was interesting. It's expected over 30,000 people over 11 days. So, anybody have any questions about that? Hearing none, I'd like to make a motion to approve the Fire Nice Festival for February 15th through the 25th of 2024.
Second.
A motion and a second, all in favor? Opposed? Motion approved.
It's Pretzel Fest. Scheduled to start May 4th of 2024, starting time 11 and run till 4 p.m. that day. Location is Main Road Streets. It's put on by the Corns Club of Lititz. It's going to be some road closures. There's going to be some free parking. I expected about 650 people. Get to stroll around, enjoy some pretzels. There's going to be some sampling of adult beverages as well. Some bands and music. Any questions? To make a motion to approve the Lititz Pretzel Fest on May 4th of 2024.
Second. A motion and a second, all in favor? Opposed? Motion approved.
It's the Lititz Line Easter Egg Hunt on March 30th, 2024. Start time at 10:30 and runs till 11:30. It's going to be at the Montville Elementary School, put on by the Lititz Lines. We expect about 150 kiddos aged 1 to 12. Any questions? And then I'd like to make a motion to approve the Lititz Lines Easter Egg Hunt on March 30th.
Second.
Motion and second, in favor? Opposed? Motion approved. Thank you, Tanae.
One other thing I wanted to comment on. Since I'm in the streets and traffic, I received the other day a letter in the mail. It's from a community member that lives in the 3rd ward, stating that they were concerns about the snow plowing, pushing their snow out under their walk. So I wanted to say, definitely appreciate community members for bringing this to our attention. I've discussed it with the Public Works Department. So this past storm, the Public Works Department plowed for like over 14 hours just to beat this town out. So I want to thank the Borough crew members for their efforts. The 3rd ward encompasses several different public works drivers, as well as the township crew does touch some of those roads as well. So unfortunately, when there's an anonymous letter like this, we're unable to address the exact street or in which this occurred, but we ultimately want to make sure everyone's safe, including the drivers. And so I think this is an opportunity to show some grace on both sides. So I just wanted to thank the public for that.
Moving on to the subcommittee report on finance, back to you, Ken. Just do the other one. You can.
Well, a few items of business, it's all good. Council, we'll take a look at your financial statement there in front of you. As you're perusing that, just want to let you know that at this time of year, expenses do trend higher than our revenue at this time until our real estate tax is started to come in. You'll notice also on your streets and highways line item, you'll notice that we've collected 60% of our planned budget, and this was due to GI alerting us that they have several street openings planned, and that was a $50,000 revenue increase for us. So that's why you're ahead in that particular category. While we continue to look over the numbers, Staff is working with auditors to reconcile and prepare audit for 2023. Staff is also working on uploading the 2024 budget to Active Fund. And then we have scheduled the dates of February 5th to the 9th for field work, where our auditor will work with our team to continue and finalize our audit. So that's the schedule there. What else? Okay. Questions? Move to approve the Lititz Borough financial statement and pay out invoices.
Second.
Motion is second, all in favor?
See, with one other item of business, the finance committee meets monthly. We temporarily meet the week Thursday or Friday after the borough meeting, so we're planning to meet this week. As we finish the year, we had was on the December 28th. And so several items were discussed. One of the highlights I just want to bring to everybody's attention is that as we look at large expensive capital outlays like in public works, we experienced that here with the dump truck. We're going to take a proactive action on how do we plan for that? How do we set aside resources so that we're able to provide the equipment that the public works or other entities need to do their jobs. We do something similar with the fire company. Set aside money each year that's built up a fund so that when the resources need to be replaced, we have the financing to do that. So we thought we'd take a look at that and see what other municipalities are doing and how we can prepare for the future.
Yeah, that's really, we finished the vote. Your step here, your first even putting out on.
My first batting experience here, okay. So the subcommittee on personnel. I want to move to accept the resignation from the council, the Borough Citizens Rep from the WESC, and that person is Chris Steyer. Chris Steyer.
Right behind the Jeep.
Yeah. So the WESC is the Emergency Services Commission.
Thank you.
This is to give room for Andy Ryan, I think, to continue as a citizen rep. Other questions or comments? I have a motion to accept the resignation. I move for a second.
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Opposed.
Motion approved. Yes, really?
Advertisement for the administrative assistants for the police department. Let me hire for the administrative assistant. I think as I understand, the person resigned and we've gone to another location. For the police department. The police department, so that area where she moved to is closer to her home. And so the police department wants to hire a new administrative assistant. And the recommendation is that we make that advertise for that. The person would start sometime in February 2024. The hire date starting in March of 2024. Do you have any comments about that, Commissioner?
Heather who resigned, she went to Columbia Police Department. It's much closer to home. Like, I certainly understand that. If we're looking for 32 hours a week, Heather worked Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and helps to read full time. We'd like to have another person 32 hours a week, possibly transitioning that person into a full-time employment in 2025 if we need it. We did not budget it for this year. we have Heather's position budgeted, so just basically putting someone else in that position.
All we're looking for tonight is just the motion to advertise.
Just advertising, we're seeking some people to see what we can get that, and then possibly try to hire them if we be at next council meeting, have them start in March.
That's what I was thinking. Just a month.
Any other questions? Thank you.
I move that we advertising to replace the administrative assistant for the Lititz Borough Police.
Second.
Second. Motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion approved. Eight, down the line here, subcommittee on planning. Now to you, Christine.
Thank you very much. We have three security reduction requests tonight. First one is for the Woodlands Phase 1. Current escrow balance is $386,842.06, and we are recommending a reduction of the entire amount, leaving the balance at zero. I'd like to make a motion that we approve this request. Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion approved.
Next request is from Warwick Woodlands Phase 2A. Current account balance is $72,251.25. We are recommending a reduction in the amount of $1,590. I'd like to make a motion that we this request.
Second.
Excuse me, this will leave the remaining balance of $70,661.25.
A motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion approved.
Last request is for Woodlands Phase 2B. Current account balance is $172,889.20. Recommending a reduction in the amount of $100,520. $100,520.20. Excuse me for all those 20. The balance of $72,369. I'd like to make a motion that we approve this request.
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion approved.
That's all for me.
To subcommittee on building and grounds, which is again back to you, King. I believe we have one item for discussion. I don't think we're taking action on this tonight, but just for discussion.
Action, I'll get to that after.
Okay, so you guys have updated.
So I guess I'll just go through the rundown. So as I've been saying frequently, the Norfolk Southern Roundabout line plan is nearing completion. We're actually at the point now where we need to obtain the right of way that's necessary. During the design, it was identified that from the Lititz Springs Park, approximately a quarter acre would be needed for the right of way. We've been discussing this with both the park board and the church for about a year now. And their intent is they're going to provide this, but they would like a land swap. Swap that they would like to provide as a piece of the rec center property. It's undeveloped, it's north of the rec center, and it's contiguous with the rest of the park. They also would like to eventually eliminate an encroachment of the rec center's parking lot that's on the park. There's about a 100-year lease for that. Their thoughts were, for doing a land swap, we may as well make the rec center property whole along the rec center and then do the right of way as well. There was a request from the church to work with the park on the flooding that occurs there. During certain situations, the park is going to get flooding. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But we have been working on a regional stormwater bank for that property in that specific location for 2 years now. We're actually in design of that. So we were able to incorporate their thoughts into that design and actually expand the design onto both the piece that's going away and as well as a part of the park property that was needed for 4th of July for this regional stormwater bank that will catch some of the stormwater. So essentially, there's an agreement that has been drafted. It has been shared with the church and the park that covers these items, a few other minor items. But if we are wanting to move forward with this, we actually have to advertise a resolution. So there would be an action needed tonight. It would essentially be advertising a resolution that could be passed at next month's meeting. That would essentially
share that the Borough Council is interested in doing this, and then the agreement could be passed.
Questions? I know Elijah's been working on this for years. I've been closely following and trying to assist from system. Fingers crossed. This we've gotten everything.
Steve, this is a really complicated, reading it seems, and I've read through it, to try to understand all of it, but to me, it makes a lot of sense. We've got three entities involved here. We've got the Lititz Borough, we've got the Lititz Springs Park, and we've got the Moravian Church. And it's wonderful that all three, I believe, are working together to solve a problem relative to flooding park, but also solving our problem with the railroad trail. So kudos to the people who are working diligently on this, and I think it's going to be good for the community. See this project finally come to completion.
I share Elijah's efforts, Ian's efforts, but almost didn't get to 6 or 9 months ago where finally got but there's always hard to get it to this.
I understand there's a lot of funding available. We were able to get some funding to help this project move forward, so congratulations.
Yes, yeah, we wrote $1.5 million grant from the state for the construction of the runabout line, and the design of the stormwater bank was covered by a National Fish and Wildlife grant.
The granted benefit of it.
I have one question, and it has to do with the flooding. I'm curious about the source of the water. The school, I believe, is upstream and contributing some, and then also the Warwick Woodlands. Is that, I don't know who to address this question to, because Scott isn't here tonight.
That is correct. There's outfalls from Warwick Woodlands, the school district campus. It even goes to Sutter Village. That's been going there. Johnson & Johnson drains to this area. The other thing that is interesting about this area is it is the recharge area for our 4 original wells for the borough. The water tables are very high. And when you lose in that area are filled with water in a wet year, water has nowhere to go. So if it's a dry year, the water can actually go in there. If it's a wet year, it goes off. Old stormwater maps from the 60s refer to that area as the ponding area. And it is part of a it's called a dry valley that goes the whole way to Mannheim. So the flooding is in a lot of ways tied in with the water table and how dry or wet we are.
It's a unique idea that I haven't place regional banking.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great solution to that problem that I think anybody in the community is better with. Anytime you try to drive through the park there.
Question though, if this flooding occurs, it will impede onto the actual trail. It's all finished.
If there's a big enough flood, it will probably get onto the trail. But at this point, the trail is pretty much going to end at Broad Street.
Okay.
Okay. There might be a small extension that goes across to the visitor center is now. But the remainder of the line is intended to be active and serving Kenview in the future.
All that will happen west of Broad Street, switch back.
Okay, gotcha.
If I might suggest that at the next Borough Council meeting, when we are considering the land swap agreement, perhaps we get a presentation on this project, if there could be a short presentation on the project, just so that we and the public all understand this very complicated engineering feat that is being taken on. Obviously not too detailed, but something that would help us all wrap our arms around this would be really helpful in the form of a presentation.
I know you've got plenty of it. Add that to your list. Just give a summary of that.
I run it before, so I have a lot of materials ready for that.
I think you might need to move me down to that end. Thank you.
So we are simply looking to advertise for the resolution, so we can talk about the resolution next. Correct.
I move that we advertise for the resolution for the land swap deal.
Second,
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion approved. That concludes the council members forum, so moving on to report from the borough engineer. That is not here. Does anybody have any questions on his report that Elijah could possibly answer? Sam?
My only question was about the stormwater situation, so thank you.
By the mayor and the chief, we'll start. Mayor, do you have anything?
Yes, I do. I hosted the County Mayor's Association here on January 10th, and Venture Liz, former Venture Liz Executive Director Rebecca Brownlee and the new Executive Director Emily Adams presented a PowerPoint to members of the county, and what Venture Liz does, and they requested from Rebecca and Emily that they receive, that they could, if they could get the PowerPoint presentation, which they graciously did, and the mayors were looking forward to taking that back to their council and their committees for future reference. So we're very fortunate, as been said very many times tonight. So that's all I have to report.
okay, I just have two items. First thing, you should have a copy of asking permission to order 9 new AEDs for our vehicles. Current AEDs are over 10 years old. Mine personally is sitting down at my desk, has never working anymore. So I did budget for 8 AEDs for $13,628, and we realized we really should have one more. So that increase of $1,712 will make a total of $15,340. And that additional expense could be taken out of a line item called protection supplies. So I'm just looking for permission to start the order and to get those new AEDs shipped. A lot of times the police officers are there first. For any cardiac arrest, we have great response from EMS and fire, but we're normally there. Myself, I've said I've my career probably didn't see over 60 people. Unfortunately, I've never saved anyone. But we've had officers that save people with AEDs. So it's very traumatic when you go to a call and the loved one's laying on the ground, not breathing, they're looking at you to do something. And they AED is just another piece of equipment that we can use, and it's very important. A lot of times when the EMS gets there, they'll put their own on or continue to use ours. They're very simple to use. You put 2 pads on the chest to walk through. Anybody can use it. If the load tells you what to do, push the button. Just make sure you're not standing or touching that person. You're going to shock too. So it's just important. We have to have these. And the ones that we have now are not worth anything. They're ready for training. So we'll probably use that just to hook up things and that type of thing. So there's not really any resale value for the old ones. So I'm just seeking permission to purchase those 9 AEDs at a cost of $15,330.
Chief, do you keep one of these in each vehicle?
Yes. Actually, the one down the their office is missing. I'm not even sure what's happened to it. Rob, did you know what it said? Okay. Well, I pushed to have an AED in this building. There's one, okay, behind you. So it's not on the first floor there? I don't know if there's one on the first floor. There was one outside Larry's office, but it kind of mysteriously disappeared. So I didn't leave up here. Okay, I think there were some issues with the battery to that, but I don't ever knew what happened to it.
You assign a detective to that?
I have to. Who's back there? I think we can figure that out. So, yeah, it's just something that's very important to have in the public to be used. So I'm just looking for permission to show that.
A motion for that? Elijah? Okay.
Yeah.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the purchase of 9 AEDs for a total cost of $15,340.
A motion and a second, all in favor? Opposed? Motion approved.
The second item is, in 2019, the Lititz Fire Company donated a 2006 Ford Expedition to the police department for all use. Found we really haven't gotten the use we expected out of it. So I talked to Mike Smith and Dwayne over about, see if anybody in the rescue organization would need that vehicle to use, so it still stays in the community. And then Rob Walker from the EMS looked at the vehicle and said he could use that for maybe a paramedic type vehicle. And so I'm asking to have that vehicle donated free of cost to Warwick EMS. We did put some items into, we might ask for one item to be taken out, a light bar type of thing, but everything else would be donated. A lot of the lights are already in the vehicle from the fire company. And the vehicle still has a lot of lights left. It's an old vehicle, that's obviously 18 years old, but still they were looking for another vehicle. So I'm asking just to have that donated to them.
We started with the fire company.
So the fire company, I think it was a police fire chief's vehicle, is that correct? And then we got it 13 years after he had it, and then we got it for about 4 years. It just kind of sits there, and I think it can't be a better use for somebody else.
Questions?
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the donation of a 2006 Ford Expedition to Warwick Emergency Services.
Second.
A motion and a second, all in favor? Opposed? Motion approved.
But a shameless plug, I have to put in for fire and ice. I meet with the fire and ice committee weekly now, and I'm just kind of putting the plug in myself. My wife and I, and another couple of their community service, we run the chili cook-off at the high school. It's Saturday, February 17th, from 11 to 2. So that's a plug for us to get out there and try some chili. Fire and ice is very important to the community limits. It's kind of a downtime for us and for the merchants. So we hope 30,000 or more people come out for that. So if you want some chili, come on out.
But that's hard for anybody who's chilling.
No, I can't do that. I'm not allowed to draw this. There's 10 different chefs. Thank you.
Thanks, Steve. All right, moving on to report by managing directors. With you, Elijah, is there anything you want to share?
I'm sure a few updates. The comp plan is moving forward. The draft we shared with the steering committee. We met last week. Those were the comments from the steering committee. We're moving again tomorrow to address those comments. We're planning by sending it back to the steering committee. Assuming that there's no further comments, then we'll come forward for a review of the planning commission review before coming in. This we're probably looking at maybe spring for adoption, would be my guess. But could always, if we get more comments from the public, that'll get especially go further back as well. So the other side of the roundabout line, the other part we have is from the school district. They actually are considering it, granting it as an easement, and this is working with the school district solicitor on that. At this point, we don't have anything to act upon. As was previously mentioned, the Lincoln culvert work had been completed, or is much so. We won't be back to switching to Cedar Street until we can get a surface on that. So that'll be after the asphalt plants open in the spring. Phase 3, the skate park renovation has begun and is hopefully will be completed by end of February. So we're actually evaluating some of the pieces out there that will be necessary after this, and the skate park associations hoping they can be donated to another entity. Questions?
Got any questions on Elijah's report?
Quick question on the comprehensive plan adoption process. Once the draft has been approved by the steering committee, it'll go to the planning commission, and that's where there'll be discussion at the planning commission meeting.
Yes, and this will be posted online for anyone else's that wants to read that doesn't attend the planning commission.
And then ultimately it will come with the recommendation from the planning commission to council.
Correct. So after you show the municipalities of the region, county planning, other entities.
So put those planning commission meetings on your agenda if you're interested in looking at that comprehensive plan and commenting on that.
It's my understanding that that plan does give some direction to the borough in terms of its planning for the future. Is that correct?
It should.
So it's an important important thing to keep in mind.
It is, and I'll share from my years of being involved, and I forget how many different ones it was. Decisions made in there guide maybe some, whether it's adjustments to the ordinance within planning or zoning, which ultimately guide how things are developed. So there's a lot of things that come out of that. I've experienced over my years of previously on planning that end up guiding that occur there that have impacted. Question on Elijah's report. Rob, would you like to give us a brief summary of any of the highlights of your report?
So first off, I just wanted to raise it up a little bit. The public works, a little bit of the snowstorms went well for cleanup. There's no major problems there. And the public works crew picked up 342 Christmas trees in December. As far as my report goes, we'll reference page 2H, Paymentus. That's still going really well. Roughly 20% of our of the bills have been paid that way. We've never done it before, so I can't compare it, but I would have never guessed that much that quickly off the bat. So we're hoping that continues to grow with the next billing cycle. Our paving, paving project, the bidding is open. It's on pending right now. Our goal is to have a proposal to everyone here at the February council meeting to vote on. The last thing I want to touch on is a letter G there, Borough Master Cloud Hosting. Just a brief history. Last year, we made a decision to move towards cloud-based servers for both Borough Master and AccuFund. The transition to the Borough Master is not going well. Staff is running into problems as far as trying to even log on to the system on a daily basis, as well as receipts for people who only pay in person. I should back up a second. Borough Master is a software we use to process all the water, sewer, and trash payments. So it is not going well. Basically, the staff can't do their jobs on a consistent basis. But we're very concerned and upset that this happened. The only thing that we know to go to this point is to switch back to a local server, which would mean buying a computer here on site. That is an unplanned expense. I don't have the exact number yet. We're working on that, but I would anticipate it to be around $10,000 plus labor to get that server here. I'll have more information for the next meeting. Just want to give a quick heads up on that and answer any questions you might have.
I have two things, Rob. How's the transition going for AccuFund?
There's no issues with that at all.
Managed by the same cloud?
It's two different cloud properties.
Okay. And secondly, could you gather some actual details on what went wrong for the master transition and provide council with a memo on that with
I get some details for you.
and with your proposed next steps as well?
That's
That's what I was going to ask. What do you feel is the timing that we have to have a solution for that? I mean, it's continual frustration.
Yes, it's our bill comes quarterly. So right now we're kind of like in a dead period. The next bill is in March. So I would expect, when those bills got in March, there's going to be some frustration from staff trying to use the program. It can be done. There's extra which you have to do. You put in tickets for the help desk and then they will fix it for you. But it just takes longer.
Questions on Rob's report?
Rob, I think we were waiting for a while to hear about a grant, and I think we got some good news in January from the PA Small Water Grant.
Yes, we see the small water grant for 2 VFDs.
VFDs, what?
Railroad frequency drive.
Okay.
Helps the motors run more efficiently. So we did get those. To finish that up, and then we'll go out to the bid process and make it all happen. Hopefully, it all happens this calendar year.
To help the budget, I'm gonna put a jar here, and anytime anybody uses an acronym, we're gonna have to start putting money in that jar.
Questions?
Thank you.
Obviously, there's some other reports within there from Jordan and Andy and such. Anybody got any questions on any of those?
Yes, I have a question on Jordan's report, our environmental program manager, I believe. Environmental coordinator. I saw in his report that there is a Spruce Street shade tree project planned, and I'm just curious on a little bit more of the details of that. We can wait until next month if he wants to come and talk to us about it, unless you can give a little bit more. Couple of questions that I had. How did we end up with empty tree wells when I believe we have a requirement that if a tree is removed, it does have to be replaced? So just interested in learning a little bit more about that. And then also what the protocol is for notifying residents of projects like this. In terms of schedule, how do we do it? How much advance notice is given, that kind of thing. Not too much.
Sure, I know they have like a 5-year plan that had rented this street this year, next year. Inside. Now it's gonna be.
Right.
Them to do that. Because they have a budget and they usually say, okay, it's X number of trees. Hey, it's the street about 1 year thing.
Do you know anything about the notification process for residents in an area that's going to be receiving a project like that? Do we have any protocols?
I know we just did it recently on New Street.
Actually sends out a letter to the property owners that are impacted by it. Some of those tree wells were actually intended, people had taken them down and were intending to replace them. And I think that might be as part of this project as well, but you know, typically they look for locations, they look for areas of empty tree wells. So what ends up happening when someone gets a permit, sometimes if it's creating, some of them are utility issues, some of them are planted really close to a water or sewer service line. So they'll evaluate them if you're inside, that doesn't make sense to replace the tree there.
Okay.
Other things, you know, sometimes it's a very large species, it's planted under utility, and it gets cut apart like you'll see on West Orange Street. So they'll sort of evaluate, is it, we put a smaller tree here, and then they'll look at the landscaping on sites. That portion of Spruce Street is very close to the street, so I don't think it's an issue with, there's a tree in the front yard, but I'm gonna ask Jordan to provide more details on that for you.
If you're interested too, Mary, Jordan has a really good survey of all the trees of the entire borough. I mean, he basically can show you where everyone is, but they use that. I mean, but they use that when they're saying, what's the next focus street? So XYZ street is barren of trees, so they obviously focus on that. And then it also has what Elijah is referring to, because I know I've challenged it before, like, why are we doing something on this street? They're like, well, Steve, there's this big gas line that runs all the way down through here, so we can't do something.
Are we finding trees that bring the sidewalks up? The roots, is there ever thing on trees that grow without roots?
It's not really about roots, but let's say, and I've been educated because I know somebody in that, you know, maple trees go this way, oak trees go this way. So they have been trying to, if you look in our ordinance, there's a list of approved species for street trees.
There's no abundance of red maples that were planted here over the years, and there's some of the notorious ones for spreading. So they're now trying to get other species, they're trying to discourage people from planting red maples. Unfortunately, people really like red maples in the fall. So there's some requests for that, but there are, as Steve pointed out, oaks and other species. There are a few species that don't heave.
Something also in our subdivision 9 ordinance, new developments occur, we have structural soils that helps the roots go from some of that. That's only with new development. It's not going to be if you have a new tree in front of your house.
Just wanted the technology. So that was actually not structural soils. That was, I forget the actual system. It was like a crate system. Same idea, different kind of methodology.
Just gives the route easier path to go rather than pushing. So, yeah, we're going to implement a variety of different. That's never going to. Any other questions on any of the other reports? This is simply to report out so everyone's aware. We have had some discussions last month, other discussions about getting more organized, shall I say, with our goals and simply our values. So I've had some discussions, I know, with each of you as we went through some of these committees. Jerry and Ken have special interest in doing this. So at this point, we're going to create an ad hoc committee where those two gentlemen are going to just start to create a draft of something that they'll bring forward to us. Obviously, it's not approving anything. They're just going to get it to a point we can actually have discussion. So you guys know some different goals we've talked about when we had that orientation. So it's just going to get an organized format so that we can keep ourselves aligned and obviously have some goals that we hope to accomplish over the next 12. I shouldn't say within the next 12 months because obviously it's going to take a couple of months to get the goals together, but it'll be something that we can follow.
Thank you for the opportunity. I look forward to working with Jerry and reporting back to council. Thank you.
All right, no unfinished. Other business. We are to public comment question period. Comment, please come up, state your name, your address.
Hi, Rich Moats, 659 Laurel Avenue. I just want to tell you all, I'm the new president of the park board. And as a lot of you know, I've been working on the flooding issues in the park for at least 10 years now. And it's been a struggle. Excuse me. And actually, when the new railroad turnaround project came out, I saw the problems. I have to say, maybe to comfort some of you, that even though Elijah and I have gone through some really bumpy roads along the way, we've worked very well together the last couple of months with Scott to come up with a basically, I think the presentation that you're going to have the next meeting, I'll go into more in detail. The project is a big project, but I think it's really three phases. One being the turnaround. And the second being, once the turnaround's done, then it goes to the railroad project. And then it goes to the basic concept. And that's a pretty big issue just in itself. Like Elijah was saying, that you know, I think we're going to catch a lot of weather. Some small so I feel comfortable about it. And Elijah, I thank you for what you've done. And you know, I'm just hoping the church is going to go through it. That's what the tough part is right now. So if you have any questions on from there. Nope.
Thank you for your service on the park board.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.
All right, David. So welcome, also, those that have spoken to before. And this is Dave Clarkson with the 226th Street, and we have a couple of committees. First one is time for us and false and into the reporting in the December 21, 2023 this record concerning comments on the December 12, 2023 budget. Suggested some false and accurate. This council that it's still the reporting was not as not being truthful and children not hearing correctly. I'll say about with the police. Statements now about trying to defend the police. I simply ask that the council has looked at ways to reduce expenses and what is the budget deficit it was proposing. I left on the few budget items And the comparison of the front of this board is about $163,000. For full services, the other township is about 2.1, the difference is $663,000. I do not offer any particular course of action. You know, suggest this board is to implement the resource will change the services in any particular way. Second, after the budget, the Borough Council meeting in December of 2023. This provided with actual estimated year-end 2023 general fund members. Other than to recommend is best. State in excess of income, expenses of expected for the general fund in the year 2023. This access is a short term after the expected net income expected in the year 2023 budget of $18,000 is best. Just on the actual estimated numbers when sure that we're getting the past budgets. The 2024 budget. First, I believe that there's actual numbers where obviously the something that shouldn't I'm very happy why that is for the borough, for the public and not the others. Particularly the bonus and actual numbers, the 62% relative increase and 57% coverage fee increase. The real estate tax increase and coverage fee increase, getting about $1,050,000 in the bottom fund for the borough that denied. So available out of the real estate tax and coverage fee increases for bonus and tax. In essence, the borough kept this increase. $5 for this council to budget and reduce real estate tax increase and coverage fee increase. The bill does not need to keep this excess surplus. But particularly the bill is the concern that this bill is becoming too expensive just below, especially for the point of fixed incomes and disabled. Any questions?
Thank you, David.
Thank you. Any comments?
Very last item on your agenda, number 13. Motion,
Move to adjourn.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion approved. Thank you.